So Raju, Utkarsh, and Simran, you are the three case presenters today.
Yes.
Okay. So who wants to go first?
Shall I?
How much time will you take, Raju?
5 minutes.
ओके तुम्हारी आवाज कट रही है वैसे तुम पहले अपना नेटवर्क ठीक करो उत्कर्ष तुम कितना टाइम लोगे
Sir, 5 minutes.
ओके यू कैन स्टार्ट
Okay, sir. Sir, this case is Mirza Ali Akbar Kashani versus United Arab Republic and others about Section 86 of CPC. The suit filed by the appellant Mirza Ali Akbar Kashani against two respondents.
अपना वीडियो ट्राई करो उत्कर्ष एंड तुम्हारी भी थोड़ी सी आवाज कट रही है वरना बीच में प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी तुम लोग थोड़ा अपना नेटवर्क दोनों देखो सिमरन आर यू रेडी
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
ओके एक बार let me hear you for 10-20 seconds and if your network is fine then continue
So just give me a second.
okay
So the case I was given was Savai Singhai Nirmal Chand versus Union of India. And the context in which I was given this case was Section 80, where we studied notice. So first I'd like to recall what Section 80 is since we've done
your voice is clear continue
it a while ago. So Section 80 is notice, which is under Part 4, suits in particular cases. And it talks about, save as otherwise provided in subsection 2, no suit shall be instituted against the government or against a public officer in respect of any act purporting to be done by such police officer in his official capacity until the expiration of 2 months next after notice in writing has been. And then there are subsections A, B, B, and C, which I'm guessing everyone is aware of. So now I'll begin with the case. The case, as I said, is Savai versus Union of India, AIR 1966, Supreme Court 188. So the short question of law which arises in this case is whether a suit filed in pursuance of Order 21, Rule 63 of CPC attracts the provisions of Section 80 of the Code. I'll just read out what Order 21, Rule 63 is. Basically, Order 21, Rule 63 was omitted by the 1976 amendment. But anyway, going ahead, what happened was that in this case, an appeal was made after a judgment and decree in 1961 of the Madhya Pradesh High Court in the first appeal. So in this case, there was Phool Chand, who was the predecessor in title of the appellant, who is Savai Singh Nirmal Chand, and he instituted a suit against the respondent, that is Union of India, in the court of Second Additional District Judge Jabalpur. And he obtained a decree for a sum of 24,000 and a cost with interest of 4% per annum. And so what happened was that on a specific date, the respondent applied for restitution of an amount and claimed interest thereon. So in this case, what happened is that the respondent challenged the decree by preferring an appeal in the High Court. And while this was pending, the respondent deposited an amount of rupees 31. And Phool Chand, who is the appellant, he withdrew rupees 28 from that amount which was deposited by the defendant. And in order to recover the money, the respondent applied for restitution of the said amount and claimed an interest on that. And at the Second Additional District Judge Jabalpur, he allowed the said application, and in execution of it, the respondent sought for the recovery of the said amount, like I said, by attachment and sale of certain immovable properties of Phool Chand. I hope till now it's clear.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Okay. So then what happened is that in this suit, he claimed that a declaration that the properties in questions, the appellant said, that could not be attached as the title in respect to these properties were vested in him by virtue of a valid sale deed executed in his favor by Phool Chand. And the response, and then he said that he gave a notice under section 80 of CPC to the respondent. The respondent to this said that section 80 of the code did not apply to the present suit, and the period covered by notice served by the appellant on the respondent would not be included, and thus the limitation period as per Article 11 of the Limitation Act has come to an end, and hence the suit does not stand. So now the question is whether this section 80 would apply or not. So both the learned trial judge and the High Court of Madhya Pradesh, Jabalpur answered against the appellant that section 80 would not apply, and therefore there has been dismissed as barred by time. But later on, when the suit was brought up again in the appeal, the Privy Council, तो फिर Privy Council referred to a case, and in the end it was said that section 80 is express, explicit and mandatory, and it...
Just a second.
Sure.
Simran. Raju, what did the Privy Council say?
Am I audible?
Yes. What did the Privy Council say?
I could not hear, sir.
Aman, what did the Privy Council say?
Section 80 would apply to the Order 21, Rule 63.
Nee, what did she just say? The three things she said.
I don't remember exact words.
Express,
explicit and mandatory.
Priyanshi, did you remember?
सर आई डोंट थिंक उसने कोई 3 पॉइंट्स मेंशन किए. उसने सिर्फ यही बोला कि हाई कोर्ट जबलपुर ने इतना बोला कि बार्ड बाय लिमिटेशन है और सेक्शन 80 अप्लाई नहीं होगा.
Is that true, Simran?
No, I just said 3 words which you just questioned them on.
So I just shared something on the group and I checked who were the first people to see it. So you were the first people to see it. So I thought I will ask you whether you're listening to the presentation or not. Listen to presentation, guys. मतलब notes बनाओ. मतलब आप लोग this will help you in your preparation.
I'll send the note presentation on the group also.
जो आपने खुद अपने हाथ से लिखा होता है कभी कुछ सुनते हुए तो it becomes ready reference material. So this was a ploy, and I was able to catch 3 fish: Raju, Aman, and Priyanshi. Haha. Okay, you can continue, Sudha.
So basically what the Privy Council said is that, section 80 is very express, explicit and mandatory, and it admits of no implications or exceptions. So the contention that had come up over here was that, since the case was already against the Union of India, the government was already aware that if a suit is being filed against it, so why should a notice be necessary in such a situation when the party is already the government and they are aware? Whereas the purpose of a notice is to notify the government that such an action is going to be taken. But in this case, the party, the defendant, the Union of India was already aware, and hence a notice would not be, like an applicable circumstance or would not be necessary as such. But the Privy Council, like I said, I'll repeat again, section 80 is express, explicit and mandatory, and it admits of no implications or exceptions. That is why it was held that a suit in which an injunction or anything of such is prayed, it is still a suit within the words of that section and read to any qualification into it as an encroachment on the function of the legislation. So the final judgment that was given in this case was that suits under section Order 21, Rule 63 would also attract the provisions of section 80, and the appeal was allowed.
Simran, could you please tell what was the after 3 that condition express, it explicit and mandatory? After that, what was the?
Yeah, I'll just tell you. So basically, when the Privy Council said that section 80 is express, explicit and mandatory, and it admits of no implications or exceptions. Like how in this case, the defendant was trying to say that, the government is already aware that a case is being brought up against them. Hence, there is no notion of it being sent a notice to let them know that, such an action is being brought to the front. So over here we can say that no implication or exception can be taken into account and avoid the provisions of Section 80 in under any circumstances. I hope that's clear.
Any questions? Anybody?
No, sir.
Okay.
I think someone said something.
Yes. And whenever you think so, it has to be Gurav because he's not fully audible many times when he speaks. Gurav, फिर से बोलो.
Rule 63 is repealed, right?
I just said that it has been repealed by the 1976 amendment.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a very old case, 1966.
ठीक है. So we'll move to the next presenter. Between Utkarsh and Raju.
Shall I
Sir,
start?
may I?
Okay. May I भी थोड़ा बच के आया वैसे उत्कर्ष, पर चलो try करो.
Okay, sir. So this case is basically deals with Section 86, which talks about suit against the foreign rulers and ambassador and envoys. So the issue is whether the suit against foreign rulers, word foreign rulers include the foreign sovereign government or not. So the basically case in Mirza Akbar Kasani versus United Arab Republic and others, the suit filed by the appellant Mirza Ali Akbar Kasani against two respondents, the United Arab Republic and Ministry of Economy of Republic of Egypt at Cairo. By his plaint, the appellant claimed to recover from respondent damages of rupees 6,07,346 rupees for breach of contract. Formerly, the Republic of Egypt and Republic of Syria were two independent sovereign states. They, however, merged and formed a new sovereign state on Feb 20, 1958. The new sovereign state is known as United Arab Republic. This new state has been recognized by Government of India. The present suit was instituted on August 10, 1959. It is common ground that the appellant did not obtain the consent of the central government to the institution of the suit under 86 of CPC, and the appellant, however, applied for the leave under clause 12 of letters patent in view of the fact that part of cause of action had arisen within the jurisdiction of Calcutta High Court. According to the respondent, the trial court had no jurisdiction to entertain the suit as the president of UAE, United Arab Republic, was its ruler, and the suit was in reality and in substance a suit against him, and as such it was barred under section 86 of the code because he didn't got the consent from the central government. The appellant contravened that section 86 of the code was not a bar to the present suit, clearly did not fall in the category. According to the appellant, the transaction which was given rise to present suit has nothing to do with the governmental function of the respondent number one. The learned trial judge held that section 86 did not bar the present suit. He accepted the contention of the appellant that bar could be invoked only against the ruler of foreign state and not against the respondent number one, which was independent sovereign state. The respondent then took the matter before the Court of Appeal of Calcutta High Court under the latest patent. Both the learned judges who constituted the Court of Appeal have upheld the finding of the trial judge and said that section 86 of the code does not create bar against the present suit. Then after matter goes to Supreme Court. Supreme Court said, we have come to the conclusion that the learned judges of Calcutta High Court were with respect in error in holding that section 86 does not create a bar against the present suit. It is plain that section 84 empowers a foreign state to sue. In other words, it confers a right on the foreign state to bring a suit, whereas section 86 imposes a liability or obligation on the ruler of foreign state to be sued with consent of the central government. It is remarkable that though the heading of these sections does not in terms refer to foreign state at all, Section 86 in terms empower a foreign state to bring a suit in a competent court. It is true that too much emphasis cannot be placed on the significance of the heading of the section, but on other hand, its relevance cannot be disputed. And so it seems to us that the legislature did not think that the case of foreign state would not be included under the heading of this group of sections. It is unnecessary to travel beyond the provision of the statutes. The result is appeal fails and dismissed. Any doubt?
No, no, sir.
Oh,
But sir, there is an interesting update on Section 86.
Which is?
Sir, I mean, 2 months back, the AIBA, that is Bar Association, wrote the letter to the Prime Minister to make an ordinance so that they can sue China for the whole pandemic issue.
सर यूएस ने तो सूट किया भी है शायद चाइनीज गवर्नमेंट.
No, just because since it requires the central government's approval to file a suit against any government, foreign government, they want to make an amendment in this particular section so that individual can file a suit directly without taking the central government's approval. I don't know what is happening next on this, but this is the current update.
What do you think about it? Is this a good thing?
No, sir.
No.
It is futile effort of the government, I think.
Sir, actually, there is a comparative study also. I mean, there are many nations which do follow this practice, and certain European nations have filed, civil suits against the government of Communist Party of China. But India doesn't allow, so there's mixed review on both this particular thing. It might lead to futile or unnecessary unwanted litigations and involvement of sovereign nations. Whereas on the other hand, it gives a right to individual to file a case if he's directly or indirectly suffering because of that country or nation.
Okay, thank you, Shivam. And I think knowledge about some contemporary developments such as this can really help some of your answers when you will be writing them. So good. Anybody has any questions for Utkarsh?
no, sir.
Okay. So Agatha, you want to ask something?
No, sir.
Okay. So who is next?
Raju.
Yes, Raju.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible, but I don't know why none of you are becoming visible.
Because of internet problem, if I switch on my video, then voice will be there, will break.
Are you sure about it?
Yes.
Okay then.
Okay. So the my case is Mohanlal versus Rajaman Singh. So context of this case is when we were dealing section 87B, which talks about the when can you sue a former ruler of the former state, and the consent for the same required from the central government. So the suit was filed by one Mohan Lal against the ex-ruler of the Jaipur for the recovery of money in subordinate court. However, it was refused as the condition under section 87B was not. So the subordinate court ने उसको time दिया था कि तुम consent लेके आओ पहले, otherwise you cannot sue, and suit was further adjourned. So application for the consent was filed by the Mohanlal, but central government refused. Reason was not mentioned in the judgment. Therefore, this Mohanlal applied for filed an appeal against the said order before the Judicial Commissioner, which is now known as the High Court of Rajasthan. So appeal. This Judicial Commissioner has also dismissed his appeal. Therefore, he again reached to the Judicial Commissioner at Ajmer, but there also appeal was dismissed, and however he was able to obtain the certificate for appeal under. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. So the question before Supreme Court was whether the dismissal of the suit against the ex-ruler was erroneous and the validity of the Constitution, which is Article 14. So in support of this, the contention was made that it is discriminatory as it is making certain classification of the ex ruler. That's why it's ultra virus and validity of the Article 14. However, the court went into the history of the constitution and the CPC and the various agreements between the ruler of the states. As per the Article 362, which recognized that whenever there was agreement or covenant enter into between Union of India and the ruler, ex-ruler, they shall be given certain privileges and the recognition with respect to their power and also they were also promised that they will be given some privy purse to maintain them. So after going in the historical background, they said though it is making certain classification, that is one class that ex ruler. However, it is based on various objectives which are not violative of the constitution, because there are certain constitutional provisions which recognizes the privileges and the immunities of these ex ruler. Therefore, it is not violative of the constitution, Article 14. That's it. Any question?
Raju, can you please repeat like why 87B is ultra virus, like violation of Article 14?
This the ex ruler is, they're creating a separate class of ex ruler. That's why it is violation of equality before law.
Okay.
And not equal protection of the law?
Sir, it was not mentioned in this. So it was just mentioned it is violative of Article 14, not and like equality before law or equal protection of law.
What does
However, we
Article
can
14
say
read?
when the court equality before law and equal protection of law.
Then?
I need to see the exact content of the.
Did you understand? Article 14 क्या कहता है? What does it read? Bare text of Article 14 of the Indian Constitution.
It says that no one shall be deprived of the equality before law. That states shall not deny any person equality before law or equal protection of law.
So the Article 14 refers to both. So when you are saying that it was only equality before law, not equal protection of the law, so Article 14 के text में equal protection of the law deny नहीं होगा. Okay?
Yeah.
Any further questions for Raju?
No, sir.
Okay. Where do we have to resume from?
89.
I have a question, sir.
We have to start with part 5, special proceedings.
Acha. Before we start, Gurav, can I make you host?
So Gaurav has some doubt. उसकी आवाज आई थी बीच में.
अरे यार गुराव तुम्हारा आवाज ही नहीं सुनाई देगी, तुम कैसे होगा तुम्हारे साथ फिर?
सर अभी आ रही
कैसे तुम
आवाज?
मराठा वॉरियर बनोगे? अभी आई.
सर डाउट ऐसा था कि why can't we make separate class of the ex rulers? I mean it is valid ना if we make it. अगर
Do you
मतलब
think
बना.
it is?
So because उन्हें reasonable amount of protection मिलना चाहिए, so I guess it can be valid.
If I may ask you, why can't we make A class of ex-chief ministers. You will
Yes,
have
sir.
that answer.
I saw that question coming.
You did.
Yes.
How come?
So we can make a certain class till they are rulers, not their heritage or someone coming from their dynasty or something.
The thing is, a class like that looks very contrary to the first few words of the Indian Constitution. Don't you think so?
No, sir. We have given certain exemptions to governor, president. They were also ex-ruler. They decided to be the part of the Union of India. So there must be some privileges that can be given to them, being a separate class or reasonable separation of class. Under
Right,
Article
तो
40.
rational nexus, intelligible differentia के tests होते हैं, but the moment you start recognizing colonial entities as a class of persons, ruler and ruled, such classifications, if they become a part of our constitution and our understanding of the legal system, becomes a perversity, right?
So also all these royal titles and all were abolished by a
Subsequently.
certain amendment. I don't remember which one.
Maybe
So
first case.
Article 70.
17, yeah.
and so just a question from this, that since we can't like have a or create a certain kind of group for these people, there's this whole issue of the Travancore royal family which has been going on regarding the shivateship rights over that one temple.
Yes.
So in that, I remember that the High Court or the Supreme Court cited a judgment, and they said that even though the title has been abolished, their rights do not get abolished per se. Only the title gets abolished. So the rights can also still be in place.
Their rights in the temple. Their rights in the temple as a trustee or something.
Okay.
Not rights as a ruler of that Travancore area.
Yeah,
And
so
I'll tell you, it is not so simply put, Aman, right, as a trustee or something. It is Article 25. Article 26, don't forget. Fundamental rights don't start with 14 and
Yes,
end
sir.
with 21. Fundamental rights, that chapter, I think, starts from what, 12 or 13? And it
But, sir,
continues till 32, if I'm not
Yes,
wrong.
32.
Hmm.
So there was a recent case. Uttarakhand High Court also said regarding that trust of Badrinath and Kedarnath.
तुम ऐसी बातें करते हो ना, मुझे मन करता है recent case क्या? You heard it, all of you. I was inviting you
we
for
heard
the
that
hearing.
case, yeah, that case only, sir. The High Court has given that to the state, right?
No. The High Court has simply
that's-
said. The High Court has simply. देखो ऐसे generalist
Okay.
answers ना from
Okay, sorry.
judiciary aspirants कभी नहीं आने चाहिए. नहीं बोलो, कोई ऐसी बात नहीं सी.
Yes.
Between not saying something inaccurate and saying something inaccurate, it's always better to say it. मतलब एक क्लास में ही तो हो रहा है. देखो.
Yes, sir.
The issue there was whether the state can enact a legislation which can tamper with the management of temples. Number one. Number two, the issue was whether the state, in doing any such thing, would be interfering with the right to practice religion, as enumerated in Articles 25 and 26 of the Constitution. तो इसमें बस हाई कोर्ट ने ये बोला है कि वहां इशू पता है क्या हो गया, जैसे कुछ टेम्पल्स में दीक्षितर्स होते हैं, कुछ जगह भाई स्पेसिफिक डिनोमिनेशंस होती हैं. उत्तराखंड के केदारनाथ बद्रीनाथ में कोई डिनोमिनेशन तो है नहीं. वो डू यू नो देयर आर जैन्स आल्सो हु टेक अ क्लेम टू केदारनाथ एंड बद्रीनाथ. मतलब अक्रॉस रिलीजन्स आल्सो देयर आर स्टोरीज. जैसे आई डोंट नो both of them. And जैसे let me give you an example. Have you traveled to the interiors of Uttarakhand? There's this place called Hemkund Sahib. सुना है, नाम तो सुना होगा कभी शायद.
हाँ सर, नाम सुना है, थे नहीं वहाँ.
So Hemkund, have you heard of a place called Valley of Flowers? It's a very beautiful place.
Yes, sir. About that Champa, that forgot their name.
What? क्या?
Above that, उसके आगे जाके किसके आगे जाना याद नहीं आ रहा रास्ता.
नहीं,
I
what
have
I'm
been in
trying-
Uttarakhand. Yeah.
Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is a very, very sacred place for religious purposes, such as the Hemkund Sahib, very, very sacred for the Sikhs, has a very, very sacred relevance for the Hindu community also. It's just above the Valley of Flowers. They say it's another रूप of Narayan. So वहां पे जब religious denomination ही specific नहीं है, तो किसकी Article 25, किसका Article 26? आप समझ रहे हो? जो ट्रैवनकोर का केस वो बोल रही है, Simran, देखो, if the denomination is specific, right to practice religion is also fundamental. It's given by the constitution. Okay? तो उसका इसीलिए रेलेवेंस कभी जाता नहीं है. However, जैसे एक्स रूलर्स, एक्स ये एक्स वो, हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल स्कीम ऑफ थिंग्स में एक बार कोई ऑफिस डेमिट कर देता है या कोई चीज होती है तो उसको कोई एक सेपरेट क्लास ऑफ पर्सन ट्रीट किया जाए, ऐसी व्यवस्था नहीं है. हाउएवर, ऑफ कोर्स फॉर प्रोटेक्शन, फॉर अदर थिंग्स है कि एक डिग्निटी रहे. ऐसा ना हो कि अरे वो प्राइम मिनिस्टर था, आज वो भीख मांग रहा है. You know, that also costs the dignity of the office. However, to keep them at a higher pedestal in a law, no, that is not what is permissible in the Indian Constitution. यही तो उस चीफ मिनिस्टर्स केस में होल्ड किया था. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
Also, sir, Privy Purse case made it very clear there won't be any colonial relic left in the constitution. So 363A, if not I'm wrong, 363A came into the constitution via some amendment, which specifically denied any Privy Purse entitlements to ex-rulers or the rulers.
देखो, प्रिवी पर्सेस थोड़ा सा अलग फुटिंग पे भी था शिवम. देखो, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के क्लियर कर देने से कि अब कोई कॉलोनियल रेलिक नहीं होगा, क्या नहीं है कॉलोनियल रेलिक्स? आज तक हैं. हमने वो 82, 42, वो 112 एविडेंस में जो हम कर रहे हैं, व्हाट आर दे आर ऑल कॉलोनियल रेलिक्स. मतलब द थिंग इज, yes, you are right, conceptually privy purses did trigger it कि we are heading into a very egalitarian society,
Yes,
a very equal society. Yes, that was
Per
done.
preamble, yes, sir.
हाँ, but ये है कि सेपरेट क्लास ऑफ पर्संस नहीं क्रिएट की जा सकती इस तरीके से जो आर्टिकल 14 वायलेट करते हैं. अब आर्टिकल 14 कैसे वायलेट होता है, उसके दो टेस्ट हैं, रैशनल नेक्सस एंड इंटेलिजिबल डिफरेंशिया.
Yes, sir.
रीजनेबलनेस इज आल्सो अ टेस्ट. वेडनेसबरीज प्रिंसिपल्स कम इन. बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, ये तो आप कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में आई एम श्योर आप पढ़ रहे होंगे या पढ़ लिया होगा या पढ़ने वाले होंगे.
Yes, sir.
ओके, इंटरेस्टिंग डिस्कशंस हैं. बाकी द सेम चीफ जस्टिस हु पास द चीफ मिनिस्टर्स रूलिंग, who passed this one Badrinath temple ruling, also the Vipul Jain ruling I asked all of you to read, is retiring on the 27th, and his last judgment is coming on that expert report case, NIT, on Monday. So we're all like biting nails right now, and there's frenzied media attention to what he will do. It's 1,000 crore thing. Maybe on Monday when I will meet you, either I will be happy or I'll be like very sad. With a lot of effort was invested there. But khair. So we start from section
89.
89. ठीक है. अच्छा नहीं, but before that, गुराव को मैंने होस्ट बना दिया है अभी तक नहीं. मैं तुम्हें वो इश्यूज कैसे फ्रेम होते हैं वो दिखाना चाहता हूँ. Just a second.
व्हाट्सएप पे जो इमेजेस भेजी वही सर.
हाँ, अब देख सकते हो आप लोग व्हाट्सएप.
So is it visible?
Yes, it is visible. एक बार नीचे zoom in करना थोड़ा सा. This is an extract from a judgment of the trial court, civil judge senior division, where they've written various things about the facts, and then नीचे जाना, नीचे सबसे नीचे चले जाओ इस पेज में. ये सब कहा. अब देखो, they write उभय पक्षकारों के अभिवाचनों के आधार पर निम्नलिखित वाद बिंदु विरचित किए गए. तो व्हाट इज दिस? दीज आर द इश्यूज दैट हैव बीन फ्रेम्ड फॉर कंसिडरेशन. नंबर 1, क्या वादी के पक्ष में मृतक वसंत कुमार जोयल द्वारा कोई वैध वसीयत की गई? यदि हाँ तो प्रभाव. इज देयर एनीवन हु स्ट्रगल्स विद हिंदी इन दिस क्लास? नो. ओके. नंबर 2, क्या वादी परिशिष्ट क व ग वाली संपत्तियों का एकमात्र स्वामी हो गया है? यदि हाँ तो प्रभाव. नंबर 3, क्या वाद पत्र के अंत में वर्णित संपत्तियों का विवरण सही है? नेक्स्ट प्लीज. तो ऐसी देखो. 4th, क्या वो उसकी पत्नी है? यदि हाँ तो प्रभाव. अब देखो, समथिंग एज सिंपल एज कि किसी प्रॉपर्टी डिस्प्यूट में क्या कोई किसी की पत्नी है, such a question is coming at point number 4. What I'm trying to tell you is when issues are framed by a court of law, it need not be a chronological framing of issues. Okay, it can be a very random framing of issues. What has to be seen is that issues have been framed or not. Let me give you an example of why it is important in a civil trial for issues to be framed. Suppose a court frames 5 issues, but passes judgment primarily on a ground which was on a 6th issue it did not frame. Did not even frame the issue. Will that be a judgment good in the eyes of law?
No, sir. Since the party didn't get any chance to
Yes.
give their contentions.
Yes, there was no chance. There was no chance. But let me make it slightly more interesting. What if the court says we take judicial notice of some things, and that is how we did it? Then
Inherent power of the court. If there is no cross,
the court is saying so. Invoke section 9. Then
Sir, I think then also the judges give you the time to, explain your side.
okay. Are they supposed to?
yes, sir. Natural justice.
Good. That is what I was looking for. They are supposed to do so that they comply with principles of natural justice. Judicial notice can be taken by a court. Nobody has any quarrel with that. Take as much judicial notice of things as you want to. The point is that if you're taking an adverse judicial notice of something, you need to tell the other side, we're doing so. We're not convinced by what you said or what you've written here, or we found this discrepancy, so that the other side has an opportunity to reply to that point. Okay? So framing of issues are very important. One way I told you they're important because a court cannot be allowed to premise its judgment on an unframed issue. Settled law. Okay? The other way in which it is important is, suppose a court frames an issue and a party has led extensive evidence on that issue, and later the court says, oh, that framed issue is useless. We need not frame it. We need not have framed it. In its final judgment, it said so. Do you think that is permissible in law?
नो सर, क्योंकि पहले टाइम मिलता है जब पार्टीज को कुछ एड ऑन करना होता है या कोर्ट को कुछ लगता है कि ये एड ऑन होना चाहिए या ये रिमूव होना चाहिए, तो ऑन दैट स्टेज.
Okay. Anybody else has a different view?
Sir, I think when court is satisfied, then also with the permission of court, the party can add or remove something.
Add. Do you think even remove?
No, just add.
Sir, can you please repeat the question? I lost it somewhere.
Okay. The question is, once the court has framed an issue, is it open to a court at a later stage, forget later stage in fact, at the stage of judgment, to actually come forward and say, look, I framed an issue, it was useless, I need not rely on it? So the answer is no.
No.
I'll tell you why. Framing of issues is a very, very important prakriya in law. What framing of issues does is, it lays down the 4 corners of a case. You're going to have a badminton match, so it's like the court for you. You win or lose based on your performance in this court. So the issues framed, do you know parties ask courts to frame such an issue? The courts do not frame that issue. Then the party prefers an appeal from order against that order where the issue framing is denied. So it's something as important as that. Even in an interim stage when the court has not given its final judgment, the party will prefer an appeal कि मेरा ये issue नहीं frame कर रहा है, इसको बोलो ये issue frame करे. तो फिर हाई कोर्ट बोलती है issue frame करो, तब वो frame होता है. तो framing of issues is something which is so important in a trial. Okay? अच्छा, तो ये तो हैं जैसे 12 issues. एक बार next page पे जाना.
Sir?
सर
Yes.
एक क्वेश्चन है सर इसमें.
Yes.
सर एक हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशन यही है कि उस पर्टिकुलर स्टेज पे देयर इज सम extraordinary fact which has been revealed. So in the interest of justice, cannot court change their particular issue?
देखो, they can, but it cannot happen at the stage of final judgment. If at the stage of final judgment some extra thing is coming up, either a clever court would link it to an issue already framed, or they will then frame an issue and give both sides the opportunity to lead evidence on that.
Okay, sir.
Okay?
Okay, sir.
Divya, you were saying something?
सर आई वाज सेइंग जैसे कि वो मैंने जो केस प्रेजेंट किया था स्टेट ऑफ आंध्र प्रदेश वर्सेस पायनियर बिल्डर्स, उसमें हाई कोर्ट ने इश्यूज तो फ्रेम किया था रिगार्डिंग अमेंडमेंट के लिए, लेकिन उस पर कोई फाइंडिंग नहीं दी थी. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने रिमांड बैक कर दिया था उसे.
This is the third thing. Yes.
तो सर उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में मैं पूछना चाहती थी कि मतलब वो कैसे कर सकते हैं, मतलब इशू तो फ्रेम हुआ है, तो अगर जो ये पॉइंट था कि इशू फ्रेम करने के बाद कैन कोर्ट से कि इट इज यूजलेस, तो इट इज लाइक इक्विवेलेंट टू दैट. अगर आप उसमें कोई
Yes.
फाइंडिंग भी नहीं दे रहे तो यू आर लाइक इग्नोरिंग.
Yes, and that is why an issue framed, unless explicitly withdrawn by court by consent of parties or by a subsequent order in which both parties were given the opportunity to plead their evidence on to lead their evidence on the withdrawal, an issue framed necessitates a finding on the said issue. The court has to give a finding on the said issue. Why? Why do you think a court has to give finding on the said issue?
Because there was an issue that was decided. वरना फायदा क्या वो केस करने का?
नहीं, मे बी बाकी इश्यूज के उससे पता चल गया हो, बट व्हाई इज अ फाइंडिंग नीडेड ऑन एवरी इशू?
So to make it like finally conclusive, to fall it under the category of res judicata.
You are very close with that answer, but a little more.
Sir.
Why would a court need to give a finding on every issue framed?
So that all the rights and liabilities. You go on.
If similar issue is being is someone is dealing with the similar issue, so there won't be any
Who is this someone and who will be the some issue?
any collateral petition, something.
Any court meaning which court?
Any collateral petition, sir, if there is any.
Collateral petition, not appeal. First and foremost, please understand this. A case is important for itself, right? So when we are looking for conclusive findings on every issue framed, we are looking at the various points of law and fact as laid down by a court of law. So when we have an issue-wise finding, we clearly know what has been held by the court, and that will become important in respect of preferring an appeal, and that will become important with respect to not preferring an appeal, and that will become important and clear for the court, the appellate court, to understand the clear view taken by the court on various important stakes involved. So who was the one who was going to say appeal? Appeal मैंने एक word सुना था, कोई बोल रहा था appeal.
Sir, I did.
एक बार नाम
Priyanshi.
बोलो अपना. हाँ, Priyanshi. Good. So that is why it's important for an issue-wise finding. And of course, जो बाकी आप सब लोगों ने कहा, res judicata and all of that, yes, वो तो clear होगा ही, वहीं से तो points of law lay down होगा. But primarily so that an appellate court has the benefit of various things that have been decided. अब जैसे look at this page जो अभी आपकी screen पे है, तो it's referring to बिंदु संख्या 2 कि ये है, and then it's giving a finding, right? ऐसी बिंदु संख्या 3, then it's giving a finding. So this is how it works. Next page. बिंदु संख्या 5, उसकी एक फाइंडिंग आ रही है. But it's not always chronological. Just I think in this case, the court first gave a finding on issue number 4, right? Immediately issues के बाद का पैराग्राफ कहाँ से शुरू हो रहा है?
सर ये वाला पेज अनक्लियर है.
ये वाले पे जाओ, थोड़ा जूम इन करो. हाँ देखो, निस्तारणवाद बिंदु 4. तो बिंदु 4 था, वो पत्नी है या नहीं? तो सबसे पहले उसने 4 को पकड़ा. इट्स नॉट कि वो 1 2 3 4 ऑर्डर में चलेगा. ये बात याद रखना फ्रेमिंग ऑफ इश्यूज के बारे में. इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी कि वो वही ABCD या 1 2 3 4 5 करे. Of course, if you're a Chandrachud, so then you do that. मतलब there are many judges जो बिल्कुल उसी उसमें चलते हैं, but trial courts नहीं चलती. Okay. Any questions on framing of issues before we start with section 89?
No, sir.
Okay then. Let's come to section 89, part 5 of CPC. Special proceedings. ये बंद कर दो अब पूरा. Who wants to read section 89?
I'll read it, sir.
Okay.
Section 89, Settlements of Disputes Outside the Court. Subsection 1, where it appears to the court that there exists element of settlement which may be acceptable to the parties, the court shall formulate the terms of settlement and give them to the parties for their observations, and after receiving the observations of the parties, the court may reformulate the terms of a possible settlement and refer the same for A. Arbitration, B. Conciliation, C. Judicial settlement including settlement through Lok Adalat, or D. Mediation. Subsection 2, where a dispute has been referred A. For arbitration or conciliation, the provisions of Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 shall apply as if the proceedings for arbitration or conciliation were referred for settlement under the provisions of that act. B. To Lok Adalat, the court shall refer the same to the Lok Adalat in accordance with the provisions of subsection 1 of section 20 of the Legal Services Authority Act 1987, and all other provisions of the act shall apply in respect of dispute so referred to the Lok Adalat. C. For judicial settlement, the court shall refer the same to a suitable institution or person, and such institution or person shall be deemed to be a Lok Adalat, and all the provisions of the Legal Services Authority Act 1987 shall apply as if disputes were referred to a Lok Adalat under the provisions of that act. D. For mediation, the court shall effect a compromise between the parties and shall follow such procedure as may be prescribed.
Okay. तो एक interesting trivia section 89 के बारे में ये है कि it was earlier repealed. Section 89 of the CPC was earlier repealed after the 1940 Arbitration Act had come into force. क्योंकि वहाँ clearly enumerate हो गया था कि क्या है arbitration proceeding and कैसे होगी arbitration, and arbitration is this ultimate way of resolving disputes outside court. However, it was added back into the CPC, the same provision, 89, was added back into the CPC after an amendment act of 1999. The NDA government had brought this in, and it gained effect from 1st of July 2002. Now, this is a very interesting provision. That is why, because I don't know how many provisions in the CPC have been like repealed and then re-added. I don't think there is any, in fact, apart from this. Okay, so you can mark that somewhere. So the object of section 89 is to promote alternative methods of dispute resolution, as is very clear by its bare reading, which may not be bound by any specific procedure and further resolves disputes expeditiously. Okay, so let me just read to you the statement of object and reasons जो आया था उस बिल में जो बाद में एक्ट बना of 1999. It said, this is a special provision made for settlement of disputes outside courts. So 89 is a special provision, and as the title also reads, special proceedings. A litigant is free to settle his dispute on a reference made by the court by resorting to any of the following methods. फिर यही चार methods: arbitration, conciliation, judicial settlement, including settlement through Lok Adalat, or mediation. It seems that the special provision has been introduced in order to help the litigant to settle his dispute outside the court instead of going through the elaborate process in the court trial. This is a special procedure for settling the disputes outside courts by simpler and quicker methods. The decisions rendered by different forums have the same binding effect as if made by a civil court after an elaborate trial. And this section were also based, provisions of this section were also based on the 129th report of the Law Commission of India. Okay, as well as Justice Malimat's committee report. Justice Malimat committee report. Does anybody know about the Malimat committee?
So what is the spelling?
Of which one? Malimat?
Yes, sir.
Malimath. Has anyone heard of the Malimat committee report?
Yes, sir. It was made to make changes in the CRPC, CPC, all the procedural laws in India.
Yes. And now Justice Malimat's son is going to be like the Chief Justice of the Uttarakhand High Court. He's a very, very hard and tough judge. Very, very tough. But Justice Malimat is credited for what Aman told you. Primarily with regard to criminal laws.
Justice system.
What?
So report, it was complete overall of the current criminal justice system. So,
but also there were recommendations here and there for other things as well, including section 89.
Sir, I have one doubt in this particular section.
Yes.
Sir, parties के पास accept करने का order or this is binding on the parties that they have to opt for these modes, or if they want to continue with the conventional litigation?
No, they can always continue with the conventional litigation. यहाँ लिखा कि where it appears to the court that there exist elements of a settlement which may be acceptable to the parties, the court shall formulate the terms of settlement and give them to the parties for their observations. And after receiving the observation of the parties, the court may reformulate the terms of a possible settlement and refer the same for. पहले court को खुद कोशिश करनी है. Section 89 में खुद कोशिश करके भी नहीं होता. Observations आ रही हैं, कुछ और चीजें आ रही हैं, तो मैं reformulate the terms of possible settlement and refer करेगा इन चारों चीजों को. और जब इन चारों चीजों को referred है, तो क्या क्या चीजें हो सकती है? For arbitration or conciliation, Arbitration Act 1996 shall apply as if proceedings for arbitration were referred to settlement under the provisions of that act. तो एक बार reference हो गया तो proper arbitration चलेगा, जैसा Arbitration Act में remedies होती है उस हिसाब से. To be to लोक अदालत, court shall refer the same to लोक अदालत in accordance with the provisions of इतना इतना, and all other provisions of that act shall apply in respect of the disputes so referred to the लोक अदालत. So about the लोक अदालत, I can tell you, लोक अदालत में काफी dispute settle होते हैं, but सारे नहीं होते हैं. It's not as if everybody walks out of a लोक अदालत feeling their issue settled. 20-30% होते हैं, but even that is a huge amount of cases if you look at it in terms of quantum. Okay, so लोक अदालत में parties जब तक agree नहीं करती तब तक कोई settlement नहीं होता. See, for judicial settlement, the court shall refer the same to a suitable institution or person, and such institution or person shall be deemed to be so and so shall apply as if the disputes were referred to लोक अदालत. So again, to when B and C में वो होगा कि दोनों parties को agree करना ही करना है. Arbitration में जरूरी नहीं है. अगर आप agreement है या court ने भेजा है तो arbitrator का award तो बिल्कुल उसी तरीके से final होता है जैसे एक civil court का decree होती है. And last में mediation, the court shall effect a compromise between the parties and shall follow such procedure as may be prescribed. Mediation में भी आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि a mediation can never be successful if one of the parties is disgruntled. The party has to agree. Both parties have to agree. Who can tell me the difference between mediation and conciliation?
Sir, in mediation, the mediator acts only as a what we can say to assist the negotiation between the parties, whereas in conciliation, the conciliator will suggest the required settlement procedure, and then parties will act accordingly.
This was the first Google search.
Sir, in conciliation, basically the party, the conciliator tries to resolve the case, and in mediation he assists.
What is the difference between the two things you just said? Explain it to me.
Sir, there might be a issue in case of conciliation, and the onus is upon the conciliator to find solutions to particular issue. Whereas in the mediation, there might be an issue, but the mediator assists both the parties to draw somewhere to the conclusion, to take them to the conclusion. So there's a very minute difference between the two. मतलब ये मैं कह रहा हूँ, which might be wrong.
सर आई थिंक मीडिएशन में आपका कोई रिलेटिव भी बैठ सकता है फॉर मीडिएट करने के लिए, एंड कंसिलिएशन में कोई कोई आर्बिट्रेशन जैसे कोई जुडिशियल पर्सन का ही होना जरूरी है, वैसे कंसिलिएशन में हो भी सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता है, बट कंसिलिएशन में आपका रिलेटिव कोई नहीं बैठ सकता आई थिंक.
So you mean to say everyone is a born mediator?
यस.
बड़े पागल हैं कई वकील जो कोर्स कर रहे हैं, अप्रूव हो रहे हैं मीडिएटर्स फ्रॉम द वेरियस कोर्ट्स. बगल वाली ताई जी को बैठा देते हैं.
So, but I thought mediation में कोई भी बैठ सकता है, but conciliation and arbitration are more, serious nature kind.
क्योंकि उनका नाम एक एक्ट में आता है, आर्बिट्रेशन एंड कंसिलिएशन एक्ट. ठीक है, नहीं, none of your answers were wrong actually. All of your answers were quite correct. But with regard to Priyanshi, mediator कोई भी बन सकता है is easier said. Yes, mediator कई लोग होते हैं, मध्यस्थता जैसे बोलते हैं हम. But legally speaking, there are trained mediators in courts of law who were taught on how to create that kind of an environment between the two parties where they can themselves arrive at a conclusion. जो बोला भी I think शिवम ने कि आपने खुद से एक कंक्लूजन पे पहुंचना है दोनों पार्टीज ने. मीडिएटर का काम बस ये है कि वो आपकी आउटर बाउंड्रीज खींच देगा, दोनों पार्टीज को सिविल रखेगा. मीरा कुमार जब स्पीकर थी लोकसभा की, वो कहती नहीं रहती थी शांत हो जाइए, बस वही कर सकता है मीडिएटर. दैट इज व्हाट अ मीडिएटर कैन डू. द मीडिएटर ideally does not have to be very proactive, and a conciliator has to be proactive. He's brought in with the mandate that you've got to urge both parties to come to a conclusion with regard to their dispute. So this is the difference between a mediator and a conciliator. Not very much, but still significant. Okay, legally speaking, still significant. What is an arbitration?
So it's an agreement where parties decides any panel of the person. In case of any dispute, they would go to him to resolve any issue.
Is all arbitration an agreement, or is arbitration a process?
So arbitration they make an arbitration agreement under the process.
Can arbitration happen only with an arbitration agreement?
No, sir.
No, sir. There can be both ways, without an agreement and with an agreement.
Everyone agrees?
Sir, by court
no,
preference as
no.
well.
Yes, a court cannot force them to go for arbitration. They must be willingness to go for there.
Can an arbitration happen without an agreement of parties?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes, sir.
Not cannot be forced by the court.
If party is willing after any issue has arisen between them, and the parties
If
are
the
willing,
parties are willing, what is it called? An agreement. देखो, try to थोड़ा सा see through these questions. जब मैं बोल रहा हूँ agreement, तो आपको लग रहा है agreement मतलब वो लिखत में कुछ. An agreement का एक, what is the meaning of the term agreement?
so where two person agrees or two or more person agrees on particular thing.
So I am asking you, can an arbitration happen without an agreement?
No, there has to be an agreement in that sense.
Yes.
There has to
In
be an
that
agreement.
sense, this is the term.
Yes, sir.
Agreement.
There has to be an agreement.
Consensus ad idem.
Yes, sir.
Right. So no arbitration can take place without an agreement of parties. Okay? None. हाँ, कोर्ट प्रॉड कर रहा है सेक्शन 89 में, ठीक है, तब भी कोर्ट यूजुअली, देखो इसमें लिखा नहीं है, बट कोर्ट ने पार्टीज के व्यू को देखते हुए ही चीजें करनी होती हैं इन अंडर सेक्शन 89. द कोर्ट कैन नॉट really become like a moral police in such situations. Okay? Acha. You can write down the name of a case, Salim Advocates Bar Association, Tamil Nadu versus Union of India. Has this been presented by someone?
No, sir.
Salim Advocates Bar Association, Tamil Nadu versus Union of India, AIR 2003, Supreme Court 189. There was a constitutional challenge that was preferred to the section 89. to the reintroduced Section 89 of CPC. And the challenge was rejected in this case. Who will do a presentation on it tomorrow?
So can you repeat the citation?
AIR 2003, Supreme Court 189. Okay. Who is going to present on this tomorrow? If no one volunteers, I'm going to look at my star list. Now I have my list. Let me pick out someone. Yes, Swagata, you will be presenting?
Yes, sir, I'll do it.
Okay. Good. Special case, Section 90. Power of state case for opinion of court. Who will read?
May I?
Okay.
Section 90. Power to state case for opinion of court. Where any persons agree in writing to state a case for the opinion of the court, then the court shall try and determine the case in the manner prescribed.
Very interesting provision. ठीक है कि ऐसा भी एक कोई चीज एग्जिस्ट करती है, बहुत लोगों को पता ही नहीं है, क्योंकि what this essentially says is that it's like a Section 90 is also called a friendly suit. You can write it down. Friendly suit. जैसे बोलते हैं ना friendly match, या where you're not really at each other's throats and there is a litigation, so it's called a friendly suit. So जहां पर दोनों ने इन राइटिंग कहा, ये स्टेट केस का मतलब कोई स्टेट का केस नहीं हुआ, मतलब अपनी कोई ऐसा केस वो ला रहे हैं जिसमें उन्हें कोर्ट का एक ओपिनियन चाहिए. फालतू में जो है लोग लीगल ओपिनियन लॉयर्स को देते हैं, इससे अच्छा वो कोर्ट को भी लिख सकते हैं सेक्शन 90 में कि हम आए हैं, आप हमें बता दीजिए, टू स्टेट अ केस फॉर द ओपिनियन ऑफ द कोर्ट, व्हेन देन द कोर्ट शैल ट्राई एंड डिटरमाइन द सेम इन द मैनर प्रिस्क्राइब्ड. अच्छा, ऑर्डर 36 पर आ सकते हैं कोई? या इनफैक्ट इवन बिफोर ऑर्डर 36 आप खोलते हो, लेट यू कैन हियर मी आउट ऑन what kind of a friendly suit is envisaged in Section 90. As I told you, it's a case of friendly suit wherein the parties do not approach the court by presentation of a plaint as is usually done in ordinary civil litigation. So यहाँ तो plaint भी present नहीं होती. They are, however, interested in the decision of any question of law and fact. For that purpose, they may enter into an agreement in writing, stating such question in the form of a case for the opinion of the court. Once the special case is presented before the court, the case shall be fixed for hearing as a suit instituted in an ordinary measure. Where the court is satisfied after examination of parties or after taking such evidence as it thinks fit that the agreement was duly executed by them, that they have a bona fide interest in the question stated therein, and the same is fit to be decided, it shall pronounce the judgment thereon in the same way as in an ordinary suit. And upon the judgment so pronounced, a decree shall follow. So दो पार्टीज ऐसी आ गई हैं कोर्ट, गले में हाथ डाले हुए, और चाहती है कि ये चीज जो है हम डिसाइड करा दें, तो कोर्ट को अपना पूरा जुडिशियल प्रोसेस ऑब्जर्व करना है और उसके बाद उस पर डिक्री भी आएगी. So what the rule contemplates is the trial of the case like a suit, an order of the court dismissing the case merely on the statement of parties without following the procedure of the suits and without taking any evidence is therefore illegal. There is a case law on this, Minu versus Maneek, MINOO versus MANEEK, AIR 1964. Mysore 185.
So please repeat the name of the case. My internet is very bad today.
MINOO, Minu versus Maneek. MANEEK. So, what do you think about Section 90?
I don't think so. It's very widely used, or would be.
Why not? Why can't two friends who are arguing over a pint of beer or coffee and they have an issue and they can walk into court and
Frivolous
why can't?
cases.
Very frivolous, sir.
Why frivolous? Why frivolous? See, I just read out, right? And the same is fit to be decided. Do you think no mega thing or important thing can come out of a casual conversation?
Well, usually a suit comes up when there's a dispute, right? But if the relations are good, then might as well, sort it out outside, then go to court or get some legal kind of advice on it.
So legal kind of advice court नहीं दे सकती.
Legal advice, but by an advocate or a lawyer.
Not a judge.
I don't know. It just seems like slightly tedious to get advice through the whole
From a
process.
judge. But won't it be
So
cheaper?
section,
Sir,
so
if a
casual
judge
cannot
is
be come up. Section 90 states it is in writing,
sir, if a judge is
not in casual.
giving his
अरे
opinion
तो
on
you can't write casual things in writing, अमन. तुमने क्या कभी ऐसी चिट्ठियां नहीं लिखी किसी को?
फिर राइटिंग एग्री करते हैं कि हम वो चीज लेके जाएंगे कोर्ट में और इस सब.
हाँ तो कर नहीं सकते. कोई कैजुअल कॉन्वर्सेशन कर रहा है तो वो अनपढ़ हो जाता है, लिख नहीं सकता.
नो सर, ऐसा नहीं कहा.
What were you saying, Shiva?
sir, I mean judge का opinion देना, so for the future cases that might be little detrimental on any particular point.
So all of you feel it's a useless kind of a provision?
Sir,
With the
I
amount
think,
of litigation already existing in India, I think so.
sir, I think this provision is important for people like Padda Nashreen ladies. May-
Everyone agrees with Priyanshi?
Yeah, I do.
नो सर.
You called it a
What
friend.
are we dealing with, my
क्या बोले तुम हल्के से गुराव?
sir? My internet connection got lost. What are we dealing with? Which section, sir?
84.
Sir, I heard section 19, but 90, but I didn't get what exactly it is. I got logged out in between.
But you are now logged in, so you are back with us. What do you think about section 90? Did you hear when we discussed section 90?
No, sir, I didn't hear.
तो सेक्शन 90 इज कि अगर दो लोग चाहें, उनका कोई इशू हो रहा है तो वो लिखकर उसको, मतलब एक नॉट नेसेसरी कि कोई डिस्प्यूट की रंग ले चुका है, the two parties can write and refer the same to a court, and the court, if it thinks fit, it is necessary, it can adjudicate on such a thing, will have to adjudicate on such a thing. This is what is section 90. So it's a case of a friendly suit. So we are discussing whether a friendly suit is a good thing or a bad thing.
Sir, another thing, the passage you just read out, you said that a decision is given on that particular issue and then a regular suit is filed, right? Like regular proceedings are carried on from once the advice or whatever is.
No, I'll read it out again. Once the special case is presented before the court, the case shall be fixed for hearing as a suit instituted in an ordinary manner, where the court is satisfied after examination of parties or after taking such evidence as it thinks fit that the agreement was duly executed by them, that they have a bona fide interest in the question, and that the same is fit to be decided. These are the three tests, you can write it down. Number one is where the court is satisfied after examination of parties or after taking such evidence as it thinks fit that the agreement was duly executed by them. There is a duly executed agreement. Number two, they have a bona fide interest in the question. Duly executed agreement, bona fide interest in question, and number three is the same is fit to be decided. These three tests are satisfied, then it shall pronounce the judgment thereon in the same way as in an ordinary suit, and upon the judgment so pronounced a decree shall follow. So these are the three tests. It's not
Can you
necessary.
repeat the third?
The third one is, and the same is fit to be decided. Such a duly executed agreement with a bona fide quotient from both parties is fit to be decided by court. So I heard all your observations, but don't you think, your conception of law is very dark and negative when you say that law can arise only out of disputes? Don't you think law can arise out of disagreements? Say, I'm forgetting the provision of the Constitution. Is it 143? I don't know. The presidential reference.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. 143.
So then that should also go. Nobody should be allowed to refer anything. And you should always necessarily have each other's throat before you go to court. What do you think?
So
Sir,
43 is with the regarding some law or something, question of law. But this is something casual or something.
So it says nonsense.
Not nonsense, but
Then
it is stated now that agreement to be duly interested, bona fide interest in question, and fit to be decided. So bona fide interest in
बल्कि
question
इतने
is
high
something
standards तो
dispute.
143 के लिए भी नहीं है.
So,
But
but
there
there
must be some dispute ना, जो
important
decide
matters
करना है.
pending. Sir, अगर हम priority पे देखें, so there might be more pressing issues pending before the court than giving his opinion on any particular disagreement. And by pressing issues, I mean issues which are related to someone's life, death, property. So, and they are in huge number. So, court might look into that cases on priority basis. Then look into in someone's bona fide disagreement, looking for the court's opinion where he can find that opinion from other ways also. But the litigations cannot find judgment
Such
without
as?
the court. Sir, such as for example, panchayat, sir. Just for example, if in rural area, you can always refer to panchayats for any opinion.
No, but sitting here in Dehradun, if I am having a disagreement with my friend, do I have to look for a panchayat?
No, sir, not for Dehradun, of course. It's very restricted for the rural area only. But you can also always go to any advocate or someone. But advocate cannot give the decision which is more important currently, uh, because the judge only has the power, and it's need to be decided on the priority basis. That's why. But ये section इतना पता भी नहीं है.
मे बी लोगों को पता नहीं है इसलिए वो ऑप्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं. सेकेंडली, अगर ये कहना है कि हम लोग नंबर ऑफ केसेस ऑलरेडी इतने हैं कोर्ट में कि कोर्ट उन पे ध्यान दे, तो मे बी अगर हम लोग इस तरह से कोर्ट में जाएंगे एज अ लीगल एडवाइस, तो मे बी नंबर ऑफ केसेस कम हो जाए. कि कुछ ऐसे लोग हैं जो फैमिली ही है, बेसिकली एक प्रॉपर्टी इशू उठा एंड दे गोट हाइपर, नहीं मैं तो केस करूंगा एंड ऑल, तो इट कैन बी डिसाइडेड, क्योंकि बाद में क्या पता वो लोग फिर साथ आए, number of cases बढ़े, and it can be decided by legal advice, so why not?
Interesting views from the class. You can think about it. Not many people know, as someone said very rightly, about 90, but at least all of you do now. So use them in your answers somewhere. Give the evaluator some dropping here or there that, oh, you've also read section 90. 91. Who will read?
So what's your opinion on the relevancy of this section?
I don't think it's. I don't really agree with there being a section 90. I don't think it's a good thing to have. Reason being, see, I'll tell you. Maybe you can have a complete judicial organ for such a thing. But as I think Shivam also very rightly said, nobody is happy in a court of law. The litigant is a sufferer, and in his suffering, you're allowing someone who's not suffering to have priority is not something very wise, in my view. Maybe for such a provision, you should have a separate judicial arm within the judiciary who's dealing with all the happy things about litigation. where they will not have stress and all, and they'll be happy people. But I don't think it's a very. I think it was well intentioned, academically a good thought, but practically pathetic.
There can be an institution who can guide. So
Certainly. It
yes,
can be a subset of the judicial institution,
yes, sir, definitely.
but certainly not within the judicial institution. Can become a cruel joke. You can also read with 90 Order 36, specifically rules 5.1 and 5.2. Okay? You'll not read them because it's not a very important provision for your judiciary examination, but who knows? 91. Who will read 91?
So may I read?
किसने कहा may I read? Huh?
Children.
So am I,
Now you're audible, Soumya.
should I read?
What?
Section 91.
Which section?
91.
Okay, read section 91.
Section 91, public nuisances and other wrongful acts affecting the public. Public nuisances, in the case of a public nuisance or other wrongful act affecting or likely to affect the public, a suit for a declaration and injunction or for such other relief as may be appropriate in the circumstances of the case may be instituted by the Advocate General or with the leave of the court by two or more persons, even though no special damage has been caused to such persons by reason of such public nuisance or other wrongful act. Nothing in this section shall be deemed to limit or otherwise affect any right of suit which may exist independently of its provisions.
So, this is also a very interesting provision of law. That is why, there are some noted judges, judicial commentators who actually feel that these wide constitutional court powers of public interest litigation, etc., can very easily be traced into civil law, to the civil courts. You should give the rights to issue to writs, and you should allow the civil courts to exercise such powers also. And allowing them to exercise such powers need not be flowing. There is no need for them to flow from the Constitution because the CPC itself is giving them such powers. So how do people arrive at that conclusion? 91 is one of the provisions that helps them. Public nuisances and other wrongful acts. एक तो nuisance is understood very widely as tort. An act of nuisance is also understood as sometimes punishable even under the IPC, with provisions like 268 and others. But let's try to understand ये किन public nuisance की बात कर रहा है. It says public nuisances and other wrongful acts affecting the public. In the case of a public nuisance or other wrongful act affecting or likely to affect the public, a suit for a declaration and injunction or for such other relief as may be appropriate in the circumstances of the case may be instituted. A suit for declaration and injunction or for such other relief. What is an injunction?
To stop someone from doing something.
Stay order.
Stop.
In a way, yes. To refrain someone. What is a declaration? A suit for declaration.
Where the court declares any right upon any person of a particular right.
Clearly बता रही है कौन क्या है.
Yes, sir.
बहुत clearly establish कर रही है. और for such other relief. तो तीनों चीजें हो सकती है. Declaration भी हो सकता है कि कौन nuisance कर रहा है. Injunction भी हो सकता है कि जो nuisance कर रहा है उसे रोक दिया जाए. Or for such other relief, as may be appropriate in the circumstances of the case, may be instituted A by the Advocate General. Who's the Advocate General? Who is an Advocate General?
State that appointed by the state.
Sir, advocate who represents state.
State, yeah.
So all advocates who represent state are advocate general.
No, sir.
No, sir, they are specifically appointed by the state
Governor.
as advocate general. That attorney general in the union is such an advocate general in the state.
How many advocate generals can there be in one state?
So one.
One.
There was one. That was a question or an answer?
Sir, I am
answer
answering
one.
one. I am answering one.
Everyone agrees?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. There can only be one advocate general in a state. And this is a very interesting provision because an advocate general is usually representing the state in the concerned high court. Okay. There is a government council, district government council बोलते हैं DGC, जो district courts में होते हैं, जो highest government council होते हैं ना district. But एक advocate general state का होता है पूरे. एंड वो यूजुअली कंसर्न हाई कोर्ट में होता है या कभी कभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाता है अपनी गवर्नमेंट को डिफेंड करने. तो पब्लिक न्यूसेंस और इन सब चीजों पर या तो एडवोकेट जनरल इंस्टीट्यूट कर सकता है या फिर विद द लीव ऑफ द कोर्ट 2 या ज्यादा पर्सन्स, इवन दो नो स्पेशल डैमेज हैज बीन कॉज्ड टू सच पर्सन्स बाय रीजन ऑफ सच पब्लिक न्यूसेंस और अदर रॉन्गफुल एक्ट. 2 लोग भी आ सकते हैं एक साथ जो लीव लेंगी कोर्ट से कि भाई हमें ये करने दो, कोई पब्लिक न्यूसेंस वाली चीज को आपके सामने लाने दो. और फिर यहाँ पे लिखा है नथिंग इन दिस सेक्शन शैल बी डीम्ड टू लिमिट और अदरवाइज अफेक्ट एनी राइट ऑफ सूट व्हिच मे एग्जिस्ट इंडिपेंडेंटली ऑफ इट्स प्रोविजंस. तो या तो एडवोकेट जनरल करे या 2 लोग साथ में आकर कोर्ट से लीव ले लें और तब करे. ओके, सो सेक्शन 91 एग्जिस्ट इन सच अ टोन एंड कलर. और ये भी अलाउ करता है कि इस तरीके से जो है पब्लिक न्यूसेंस को सिविल लॉ के अंदर ले आया जाए. अगर आप पब्लिक न्यूसेंस की बात करोगे तो अंडर आईपीसी इट इज liable to criminal prosecution and proceedings under CRPC are enumerated in between sections 133 to 143 of CRPC. इसके अलावा public nuisance has not been defined in the CPC, but there is a definition under section 3 subsection 48 of the General Clauses Act of 1897. Section 3 subsection 48 of the General Clauses Act of 1897. And of course, I've already told you 268 of IPC defines public nuisance. So under criminal law, a person is liable for prosecution under IPC. Under civil law, he is liable for prosecution for public nuisance by a person who may not strictly have standing as a plaintiff in a criminal suit. And secondly, he is liable to damages at the instance of a private individual. Now that damages could be for that private individual or for another private individual whose interest that other 2 private individuals are representing under section 91.
EIL जैसा नहीं है. EIL जैसा नहीं है कॉन्सेप्ट.
क्या? हाँ है, बिल्कुल है. ऑर्डर 1 रूल 8 की मैंने बहुत बार इस क्लास में बात करी है. व्हाट इज ऑर्डर 1 रूल 8?
रिप्रेजेंटेटिव सूट्स के लिए.
तो एक रिप्रेजेंटेटिव सूट क्या होती है? आप कई लोगों के लिए एक साथ डाल रहे हो, नॉट नेसेसरी कि एक ही पर्सन के लिए आ रही है.
So what is mean by no special damage? Then need to be some damage. There might be special or general or something.
मतलब जरूरी अब जैसे मुझे कोई पब्लिक न्यूसेंस से मुझे बहुत परेशान कर रहा है, मैं कुछ नहीं करना चाह रहा हूँ, मैं बस सह रहा हूँ उसकी परेशानी में, क्या करूँ, मैं डरता हूँ। और जो है मुस्कान और स्वागता ने मेरी प्लाइट जानी और उन्होंने बोला हम जो है एडवोकेट जनरल तो अभी तक हम बने नहीं, लेकिन हम जो है तुम्हारे लिए हम ये डालेंगे सेक्शन 91 का एक सूट। उन्होंने डाल दिया, तो उनका कोई डैमेज नहीं है, वो मेरा एक हित रख रहे हैं। दैट्स अलाउड, दैट्स परमिसिबल।
Okay, sir.
अच्छा, I want to tell you before that about a pre-1976 and a post-1976 existence of section 91. Pre-1976 या तो एडवोकेट जनरल कर सकता था या परमिशन चाहिए होती थी फ्रॉम द एडवोकेट जनरल फॉर अ 91 सूट। Post 1976 it can only be an advocate general or two persons who will get the leave from the court. तो ये एक चेंज हुआ, एडवोकेट जनरल की परमिशन की जगह अब एक कोर्ट परमिशन दे सकती है। एक और चीज आप जानो कि, या पहले मैं आपसे पूछता हूं, व्हाट डू यू थिंक, कैन समवन एट द सेम टाइम इंस्टीट्यूट a 268 IPC prosecution and a 91 civil suit against the same person for the same public nuisance?
Yes, sir. One is for damages, others for punishment, criminal punishment.
Yes. So a civil suit action can never land a person in prison, and a criminal action can never land a person to shed some money.
It can, sir. But there are certain provision regarding to that. It's like in the civil case, imprisonment is only served for non-payment of बहुत लंबा procedure है उसके लिए. That we have
और
all
क्रिमिनल
gone
में
through
तो
in
ऐसे
section
imprisonment
55.
हो जाती है।
Not that, sir. But it's it is for the specific compensation is to be granted. There are certain provision in CRPC also for the compensation regarding that. Then something. But it can be instituted two times in different courts, yeah. According to my view.
Everyone agrees with Aman?
यस सर, आई गेस क्योंकि सिविल केसेस में तो सिर्फ अंडर सेक्शन 58 के लिए ही सिर्फ डिटेन कर सकते हैं, अरेस्ट कर सकते हैं, डिटेन कर सकते हैं। उसके अलावा इम्प्रिजनमेंट का
डबल जो
My question is, does everyone agree with Aman?
Yes, sir.
I just have one doubt कि ये डबल जो पार्टी हो सकता है, मतलब might go against constitution.
What is your rejoinder to that, Gurav?
So both the provisions under IPC and this section, they are concurrent, right? So because as Aman stated, one is for punishment and the other is for compensation, and in this section it's specifically for injunction.
Suppose one is, you say one is for punishment, they're concurrent, the other is for compensation. अगर नहीं दे रहा वो compensation, डिक्री के बाद भी नहीं दे रहा, तो उसको जेल नहीं हो सकती?
So but ये section primarily focus करता है injunction पे. So अगर suppose
सिर्फ injunction पे?
injunction and declaration.
सिर्फ declaration और injunction?
Yes, sir.
कोई तीसरी चीज है ही नहीं?
Any other appropriate relief that the court may grant.
Any other appropriate relief?
Yeah.
बोलो Gurav.
Sir, he can go, but it's at the option of the court. Like court may not allow such other petition.
नहीं, petition relief कोर्ट को छोड़ो, शिवम का एक बड़ा स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट है, क्या ये डबल जेपटी है या नहीं है?
So double jeopardy is for the same charges in the criminal court, not in something different in civil and in the criminal court.
So but departmental उसमें भी कई बार डबल जो पार्टी लगा है.
what does the class think? What do the other people think?
No, sir.
No में क्या?
नहीं गा सकते सर, दो सर सेपरेट सेल्फ नहीं हो सकते दो, आई थिंक.
Okay. What do you think, Soumya?
No, sir. According to me, it's not a double jeopardy. You can have both the remedy simultaneously. It can be a civil and it can be a criminal.
Okay, Fatima says कि it's not double jeopardy. Soumya, are you hearing?
Yes, so even I think it's not. It will not be double jeopardy. You can have two cases simultaneously, one for the civil and one for criminal.
Sir, I have a doubt. What if suppose there is a highway और वो block हुआ है, so majority of public नहीं जा पा रही है, so can I file a private suit अलग से? मतलब ये section के अंदर भी एक suit गया है and मेरा personal right भी violate हुआ है, so अलग से can I file it?
हाँ, you can. This section does not say you need to be a Sant Mahatma.
Sir, I have example जिसमें दोनों में एक साथ हुआ है. सर मतलब अरुण जेटली और केजरीवाल का डिफेमेशन केस था.
तो defamation है. मैं see, the answer is yes. This is not double jeopardy. The answer is you can proceed with both. It's the reasoning that has not impressed me.
So one is against the state,
Sir,
one is between two individuals or something.
So maybe jurisdictions.
So what about the last question I left Gurav with, which was even in a civil suit there can be imprisonment. It's not as if it can't be. And even in a criminal trial there can be compensation. It's not as if there can't be.
So jurisdictions, two different jurisdictions, two different forums. So two cases can be filed.
Sir,
Okay, very close.
I would like to add a point. After imprisonment, the person does not get relief of his damages that have been claimed. But that has been decreed by the court in civil cases.
After imprisonment, क्या हुआ?
A person does not get relief from such decree or such money that he has to pay. He doesn't get to say that अब मैं pay नहीं करूँगा कि मैं जेल हुआ है.
ये तुम मतलब एक्सपीरियंस से बोल रहे हो या नॉलेज से?
सर ऐसा लिखा हुआ है ना इसमें, CPC में लिखा हुआ था.
देखो, डबल जेपर्डी का आर्ग्यूमेंट इसलिए नहीं होगा यहाँ पे. एक तो जो आप सबने पॉइंट आउट किया सिविल क्रिमिनल वाली चीज, और सेम चीज पर दो कॉज ऑफ एक्शन हो रहे हैं. द लॉ प्रोवाइड्स फॉर डिफरेंट कॉज ऑफ एक्शन. That is the most instinctive and natural answer I was looking for. The very fact that such a provision has come into civil law is indicative of the fact that the law mandates concurrent action. Civil में आया ही क्यों है? ये किसी ने क्वेश्चन ही नहीं किया ये आया ही क्यों फिर? Why has it come here? It's come here because you can pursue for compensation. Okay, and the moment you can pursue for compensation, it's not as if someone is pursuing someone for compensation, they're precluded from their rights in criminal law. Okay, so when the law has itself provided for it, it means that both remedies, both avenues are open. When is double jeopardy attracted? When are two avenues not open to a single litigant or to the same set of parties? When the same law prohibits it. कभी भी सोचना, res judicata, res sub judice. Who is it applying on? The same parties. Right? So यहाँ पे there is no preclusion. In fact, there is facilitation. Okay? Any questions on 91 so that we can come to 92?
No, sir.
Okay. Who will read 92?
So may I?
Okay.
92. Public charities. In the case of an alleged breach of any express or constructive trust created for public purposes of a charitable or religious nature, or where the direction of the court is deemed necessary for the administration of any such trust, the Advocate General or two or more persons having an interest in the trust and having obtained the leave of the court may institute a suit, where contentious or not, in the principal civil court of original jurisdiction or in any other court empowered in that behalf by the state government, within the local limits of whose jurisdiction the whole or any part of the subject matter of the trust is situate, to obtain a decree, A. Removing any trustee, B. Appointing a new trustee, C. Vesting any property in a trustee, directing a trustee who has been removed or a person who has ceased to be a trustee to deliver possession of any trust property in his possession or to the person entitled to the possession of such property. D. Directing accounts and inquiries. E. Declaring what proportion of the trust property or of the interest therein shall be allocated to any particular object of the trust. F. Authorizing the whole or any part of the trust property to be let, sold, mortgaged, or exchanged. G. Settling a scheme. Or H. Granting such further or other relief as the nature of the case may require. Subclause 2. Save as provided by Religious Endowments Act 1863 or by any corresponding law in force in the territories which, immediately before the 1st November 1956, were comprised in Part B states. No suit claiming any of the reliefs specified in subsection 1 shall be instituted in respect of any such trust as is therein referred to, except in conformity with the provisions of that subsection. Subsection 3. The court may alter the original purposes of an express or constructive trust created for public purposes of a charitable or religious nature and allow the property or income of such trust or any portion thereof to be applied cypers in one or more of the following circumstances, namely: A. Where the original purpose of the trust in whole or in part 1. Have been, as far as may be, fulfilled, or 2. Cannot be carried out at all or cannot be carried out according to the directions given in the instrument creating the trust, where there is no such instrument, according to the spirit of the trust, or B. Where the original purposes of the trust provide a use for a part only of the property available by virtue of the trust, or C. Where the property available by virtue of the trust and other property applicable for similar purposes can be more effectively used in conjunction with, and to that end can suitably be made applicable to any other purpose, regard being had to the spirit of the trust and its applicability to common purposes, or D. Where the original purposes in whole or in part were laid down by reference to an area which was then but has since ceased to be a unit for such purposes, or E. Where the original purposes in whole or in part have, since they were laid down, 1. Been adequately provided for by other means, 2. Ceased as being useless or harmful to the community, 3. Ceased to be in law charitable, 4. Ceased in any other way to provide a suitable and effective method of using the property available by virtue of the trust, regard being had to the spirit of the trust. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, can you read this provision again?
Yes, sir. Public charities. In the case of any alleged breach of any express or constructive trust created...
You forgot to say subsection 1. That's subsection 1 that you're reading, right?
No, I read it.
No, Abhi, when you started reading again...
Oh, yeah, I didn't say subsection 1.
It happens in such a long provision. Okay. So, see, I think this is See, I'm saying interesting about every provision because it is, this entire chapter deals with special proceedings. In general cases, what do you know about notice in civil law? Notice. Do we have to give a notice to the other side? Is the court duty bound to hear the other side generally?
Yes, a notice is required.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you think that Section 92 action would also require notice? When there's any breach of any alleged breach of any express or constructive trust जो public purpose के लिए created है, direction of the court is deemed necessary, एडवोकेट जनरल या दो लोग जो हैं ये कर सकते हैं और ऐसा टाइप का एक्शन के लिए कर सकते हैं, तो क्या कोर्ट को नोटिस देना है सेक्शन 92 एक्शन में या नहीं देना है?
सर देना चाहिए.
देना चाहिए. क्यों देना चाहिए?
Hear the side, their reason.
Like in the case I presented, there is no exception or any other kind of reasoning which can be given to not give a notice.
So please write down R.M. Narayana Chettiar versus N. Lakshmanan Chettiar.
So can you spell it out?
Yes, R.M. space Narayana space Chettiar. Chettiar versus N. Lakshmanan Chettiar. This is AIR 1991, Supreme Court 221.
Can you please repeat the case name?
Yes, R.M. Narayan Chettiar versus N. Lakshmanan Chettiar. This is the case name, where the Supreme Court has said that although as a rule of caution, a court should normally give notice to the defendants before granting leave under the section to institute the suit, but the court is not bound to do so. 92 में Supreme Court ने Chettiar में कह दिया है कि a court is not bound to do so. Okay? So it's been held by the court that a court is not bound to do so. It's been held by the Supreme Court.
So basic principles के against नहीं है.
लगता तो ऐसा है, लेकिन let's read the case to know this.
Yes, sir.
So who will be taking this case for presentation tomorrow? Or should I refer to my
Should I?
list? You can take it, Gaurav. ठीक है.
सर जस्ट
Yes.
स्मॉल डाउट, आई गेस मैं पूछूं कि इसीलिए कैविएट लगाते हैं क्या?
क्या करते हैं?
इसीलिए 148 के अंडर कैविएट लगाते हैं क्या? कैविएट
इसीलिए 92 की वजह से है ये सीन.
नहीं, यू सेड ना कि मतलब जरूरी नहीं होता है कोर्ट को टू गिव नोटिस टू द अदर पार्टी, और वो
नहीं, ये तो मैं कहा है ओनली फॉर 92 में, और चेटियार में ये कोर्ट ने कहा कि जरूरी नहीं है.
ओके.
अदरवाइज जरूरी है. एज ए नॉर्मल प्रिंसिपल नोटिस तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है. बिना दूसरी पार्ट मतलब बिना दोनों साइड को सुने कोर्ट कुछ नहीं करना चाहती.
Sir, can you explain this concept of caveat? काफी
तो-
confusing.
कैविएट मैंने कहीं बोला क्या?
नहीं सर, वो मैंने खुद से पूछा.
ओके. अ
मैंने भी
कैविएट,
बहुत जगह सुना है. सॉरी सर.
अच्छा नहीं कोई सॉरी की बात नहीं है. दिखाऊं आपको कैविएट कैसी होती है?
यस सर.
6 मिनट में.
सर मेरा एक डाउट है, केविट किस कोर्ट में लगता है? डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट्स में
तो मैंने कल ही हाई कोर्ट पे लगाया.
तुमने लगाया?
यस
कैसे?
सर. सर अंडर माय फादर्स नेम, मतलब उनके बिहाफ पे मैंने कैविएट कल ड्राफ्ट करके लगाया हाई कोर्ट पे जबलपुर.
वेरी गुड वेरी गुड. चलो मैं बताता हूँ आपको.
रिसेंटली क्लेम करके जिसमें डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट में केविट लगा है.
तो कौन सी कोर्ट की दिखाऊं मैं आपको? डिस्ट्रिक्ट, हाई या सुप्रीम?
सुप्रीम कोर्ट.
अभी तुम हो क्या नाम है गुराव, तुम अभी भी होस्ट हो?
No, sir.
तुम नहीं रहे?
No, sir.
एक सेकंड. बन गए.
Okay.
क्या नाम है उस ग्रुप का? आ ही नहीं रहे. अच्छा LS. ओके. क्या भेज दिया मैंने? ओह शिट. ये जरा अपलोड करो. See,
Yes.
let me tell you now what is a caveat. A caveat is essentially a document, okay, where you are approaching a court of law, trying to tell that court of law that you are expecting a case by an adversary who is going to move against you. So caveat is filed by someone who has an interest in the case, and it is filed by someone who is anticipating some kind of an action against them. Okay, तो कैविएट इज मुझे शक है, मुझे डर है कि अगर मैं कैविएट डाल रहा हूं प्रियांशी के खिलाफ तो मुझे डर है कि ये मेरे पे केस करने वाली है. और फिर अब देखो, प्रियांशी मेरे पे केस करेगी तो अगर मैं स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हूं तब तो मुझे ऑटोमेटिकली उसको नोटिस देना पड़ेगा. पर अगर मैं स्टेट गवर्नमेंट नहीं हूं तो मुझे तो पता भी नहीं चलेगा. वो तो केस करेगी, कोर्ट में केस आएगा, उस दिन वो रोएगी कि इसने मेरे साथ जो है ठगा मुझे, उसने मुझे प्रॉपर्टी से वंचित करा. तो कोर्ट तो उसी की सुन रही है. हो सकता है प्रियांशी को स्टे मिल जाए, राइट? तो इसीलिए कैविएट का प्रोविजन है कि नहीं भाई, तुम्हें पहले इनको भी सुनना है. यू गॉट टू हियर द कैविएटर. कैविएट होता है कि आई एम फाइलिंग अ कैविएट, सो आई एम द कैविएटर, कि मेरे को बिना सुने दूसरे इंसान को कोई रिलीफ ना मिले. तो ऊपर जाना है इस कैविएट में सबसे पहले फर्स्ट.
So just like anticipatory bail, CRPC.
एंटिसिपेटरी बेल तो अपने लिए होगी ना, कि मैं मुझे लग रहा है मेरी अरेस्ट होने वाली है तो मुझे बेल दे दो. दैट्स एंटिसिपेटरी बेल, राइट? बट एंटिसिपेटरी बेल का कॉन्सेप्ट अमन इसलिए अलग है. एक तो इट इज नॉट यूनिफॉर्म, यू नो, लाइक इन उत्तराखंड देयर इज नो एंटिसिपेटरी बेल. तो इट्स नॉट एज इफ एंटिसिपेटरी बेल इज देयर इन एवरी स्टेट ऑफ इंडिया. दूसरा एंटिसिपेटरी बेल के साथ ये है कि इट इज ओनली अगेंस्ट स्टेट एक्शन. A caveat is for any kind of action. तो जैसे ये caveat है, ठीक है? So जितेंद्र सिंह नेगी is the non-caveator, which means ये मेरा enemy होने वाला है, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है. And सोनिया बेनीवाल is the caveator. मैं हूँ सोनिया बेनीवाल का वकील. If anybody remembers, somebody has presented the Sonia Beniwal case also.
Yes, sir, Raju.
कहाँ चला गया राजू? राजू? Raju is not here.
Not in the
Very bad.
participants.
बताया भी नहीं उसने. तो जैसे if you remember the Sonia Beniwal case, I'll just give you a short so that you'll actually understand फिर क्या है कैविएट वगैरह. सोनिया बेनीवाल के केस में I had filed a public interest litigation, मतलब as on behalf of Sonia Beniwal in the High Court. And it was a case of corruption. And the other side, this Jitendra Singh Negi person is very powerful with the state government, very close to the chief minister. And he filed a 1050 pages ka counter affidavit. Uske baad we won that case. If you remember, the court ordered a high level inquiry. It was presented to the class. You remember? Some of you?
Yes, sir.
So now, after this happened, I was suspecting कि ये Supreme Court जाकर stay ले लेगा, हम जहाँ से जीते. तो इसलिए मैंने कैविएट लगवाई. तो देखो, जितेंद्र सिंह नेगी इज द पर्सन आई सस्पेक्ट मेरे खिलाफ आएगा. सोनिया बेनीवाल इज मी. इवन दो आई वाज द पिटिशनर बिफोर द हाई कोर्ट, बिफोर द एपेलेट फोरम आई विल बी द रिस्पोंडेंट. ओके, सो इंडेक्स कैविएट इतना, वकालतनामा का इतना कॉस्ट. सुजॉय चैटर्जी इज माय एडवोकेट ऑन रिकॉर्ड इन दिल्ली. AOR फाइल करता है ना सुप्रीम कोर्ट में.
बेसिकली कैविएट में एक्स पार्टे डिसीजन नहीं हो सकता.
हाँ, द ऑब्जेक्ट इज कि एक्स पार्टी डिसीजन ना हो. तो देखो कैविएट ये लिखी हुई है किस कोर्ट में है, कैविएटर कौन है उसका ये सारी डिटेल दी हुई है, कैविएटी कौन है, हु आर द अदर साइड, हु आर वी एक्सपेक्टिंग फ्रॉम द अदर साइड, ये सब दिया हुआ है.
Sir,
यस,
not only ex parte relief, but also, sir, any kind of relief, like stay order or injunction.
सी अ स्टे ऑर्डर इंजंक्शन तो ठीक है, देखो, बट द मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव इज एक्स पार्टी रिलीफ को रोकना. हो सकता है कैविएटर मैं आ जाऊं और तब भी स्टे कर दे सुप्रीम कोर्ट. कोई हार्म किसी को रोका है उन्होंने? किसी ने नहीं रोका. बट इट्स द मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव एक्स पार्टी रिलीफ नहीं होनी चाहिए. मुझे सुन कर दो, देनी है दो, पर मुझे सुन कर दो. ओके, देखो नेम ऑफ द कोर्ट लिखा है हाई कोर्ट, डेट ऑफ जजमेंट, कॉज टाइटल एंड केस नंबर, पर्टिकुलर्स ऑफ द ऑर्डर, एक छोटा सा समरी बनाया कि क्या है भाई. फिर कैविएट ये कह रहा है कि मैं प्रेफर एन अपील पिटिशन, द कैविएटर वाज पार्टी टू द प्रोसीडिंग्स, कैविएटर हैज डिस्पैच्ड अ नोटिस बाय courier and the postal address of the caveat is therefore paid so and so, so and so, so and so. ये मेरे AOR ने डाल दिया. ओके एंड इसके बाद क्या होता है, इसके डालने के ठीक 2 दिन बाद जितेंद्र सिंह नेगी की स्पेशल लीव पिटीशन सुप्रीम कोर्ट में फाइल होती है एंड ही रियलाइजेस दैट द कैविएट हैज बीन फाइल्ड. In fact, this is probably going to be my first Supreme Court appearance on the 31st of July. So it's going to be a hearing day before Justice Arun Mishra. Let's see. So this is what is a caveat. Okay? But how did we come to caveat?
Priyansh.
Sir, section 922 sir.
अच्छा 92 में लिखा है क्या caveat कहीं पे?
No, sir. Priyanshi
नहीं
said
सर,
this
वो मैंने
word.
खुद से
Priyanshi
So
पूछा था.
everyone.
ओके ओके ओके. नहीं यू कैन ऑलवेज आस्क, ऐसी कोई चीज नहीं. गुड गुड, ठीक है. अच्छा मुझे एकदम से याद आया, ईशू कहाँ पे है यार? व्हाट इज रॉन्ग विद हिम? वो कहाँ, कब से नहीं सुना उसको हमने? इज ही कमिंग फॉर द अदर क्लासेस?
राघव भी.
आर दे कमिंग फॉर द अदर क्लासेस?
No, sir.
इवन सुकृति नहीं दिखी मुझे लग रहा है बहुत टाइम से.
So Sukriti has some migraine issues. She's not keeping very well.
अच्छा ओके. ठीक है फिर we'll meet tomorrow and we will continue class 92 explanation onwards. But अच्छा मैंने ये चेटियार किसको दिया है प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए? ओके मैं कुछ केसेस आपको दे देता हूँ 92 के लिए. There's one more. R. Venugopal Naidu versus Venkatarayulu Naidu. R. Venugopal Naidu versus Venkatarayulu. Venkatarayulu.
So can you write it in the chat box?
Venkatarayulu. सबने लिख लिया? मैं लिखूं अभी भी एक बार चैट बॉक्स में.
Okay, sir.
लिख लिया.
ओके
WhatsApp भेज दिया सर.
हाँ व्हाट?
WhatsApp पे भेज दिया. वो केस का नाम मैंने WhatsApp पे भेज दिया.
अच्छा ठीक है. तो
Yes,
इसका
please, okay.
साइटेशन है AIR 1990 सुप्रीम कोर्ट 444.
सर आरके नारायण चेट्टियार वाले केस का साइटेशन बता दीजिए एक बार.
AIR 1991 सुप्रीम कोर्ट 221. तो इसका जो मैंने अभी आपको बताया ये वाला केस वेंकटरायुलु, हु विल प्रेजेंट दिस टुमारो? मैं अपनी लिस्ट को रेफर करूं? ओके आई एम रेफरिंग टू माय लिस्ट. वेट,
Sir, I did.
यू वांट टू टेक इट अप?
Yes, I did.
गुड शो. ठीक है. और there are some very important cases here. There's one more. Sayyid Mohan versus Muhammad Hanifa. Sayyid Mohan versus Muhammad Hanifa. AIR 1976 Supreme Court. AIR 1976 Supreme Court. (1569). Who will present this one? Fatima, you want to present?
Sir, it's better I'll present next time because I have some case laws that has to present on my office too. That's why I'm not taking.
Okay. Then I will refer to my list.
I'll surely take it after some days.
हाँ वो तो we will ensure.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Divya,
Yes, sir.
you will present?
So tomorrow it might not be possible.
But you are on my list, you know.
Yeah, I know.
So let me ask some other members of the list, and in case they also say so, then see. I will not ask Kaveri because उसने तो बहुत खतरनाक लिख दिया ग्रुप में. I hope she is fine. Simran just presented. I think I've given one to Swagata. Shubham has taken one. You've expressed inability, which leaves me with one name.
So I'll do.
Good. ठीक है then. Good night. See you tomorrow.